Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's match preview West Ham United against Newcastle United. Gonzo, may you kick us off with your thoughts on the Geordies, please?
Yeah, obviously got their trophy over the line last season. They'd had a long wait for that. We know what that's like. So, yeah, I guess there was as much relief as jubilation that they started off the defence of their trophy well, didn't they? Beat Tottenham 2-0 in the week. I think they had the rug pulled out from under their feet a little bit with PSR and whatnot, but they still seem to be climbing. They had a really bad summer in terms of just constantly trying to fight off the bid for Isak, and yeah, I mean they got done. They got done a little bit with it, really. When you think they were going for Ekatike. It was pretty callous stuff. But yeah, look, all's fair in love and war, I guess. But pretty callous stuff from Liverpool, and they went and said, "Well, we'll go and get your Isak replacement. We'll have him as well. Oh, and by the way, we'll have Isak." And it dragged on. I don't think Isak handled himself very well throughout it. But you're looking at it now. I'm not sure this will be the case long term because Liverpool are struggling. Isak is not scoring, and Woltemade's come in and looked, really, really good. And in many respects, I think probably playing to the strengths of Eddie Howe. So, it's a. I think they've navigated choppy waters quite well, and I think they probably find themselves now in quite a good position with a really good squad. I think he changed for the Tottenham game, changed a few of the players. I think Harvey Barnes started, for instance, and a couple of others as Willock. I think Willock played, and so there were a few others that came in, which allowed him to rest about half the team. Botman was injured as well, wasn't he? So, I think they're negotiating choppy waters quite well, and I think they're probably in for another good season, actually.
Yeah, I think it was a really slow start to the summer, and then as a result of that, I think it was a really slow start to the season as well. The first few games of the season didn't have a striker because of Isak. They had Osulu there, but trying Anthony Gordon up front. Woltemade joined eventually, Wissa joined eventually, but when the season kicked off, they didn't have a senior striker really to play, and I think that caused them problems with Paul Mitchell leaving as well at the end of the season / early in the summer, and it felt like there was a bit of disagreement between himself and Eddie Howe in regards to how Newcastle should go about their summer transfer business. And that's not what you want to do at the start of the transfer window. At the start of the transfer window, you do not want the guy in charge of the transfer window, the guy in charge of the team, having a bit of a disagreement and not really aligning with their vision for Newcastle. And I think that's what caused them a bit of bother. And then I think they almost got a reminder to some extent because, Newcastle have very rich owners. They won the Carabao Cup. They've got Champions League football. So from a neutral, I think it's very easy to look at it as a fan and go, well, why would you not want to go to Newcastle United? If Jared Bowen was to leave West Ham today, for whatever reason, he rang me up and said, Gio, where do you think I should go? I said, do you know what, Jared? I think you should consider Newcastle, actually. Really good team, fantastic fan base, really good manager. They've won a trophy, Champions League football. What's not to like? Why would you not go to Newcastle? So that's my opinion as a fan. But then they went after James Trafford. He went to Man City. He went after Mbomo. He went to Man U. Went after Sesko. He went to Man U. Went after Ekatike. He went to Liverpool. So a lot of their top targets said, no, thank you. We're going to go to that club with the history. Because you can't say that. I don't believe that Man U, where they are today, are a more attractive club than Newcastle United for the next 2 or 3 seasons. They're just not. No. I think Newcastle will finish higher than them in the league. They're more likely to go on and have success as well. Now, eventually, it may swing back. The pendulum may go back to Old Trafford, but for the time being, I think Newcastle, as a football fan, feels more attractive. So I think they had to miss out, but they still got some really good players in. And I think come the end of it, I think it was a good transfer window for Newcastle because at the start of the window, what was their ambition? Well, they needed to get an upgrade in the goalkeeping department. Now, while Ramsdale hasn't knocked Pope out of the team, he's an upgrade on what they had previously with Dubravka.
Yeah.
Chow's gone in there. They needed a defender. They got Chow. Midfield, they added Ramsey. Alanga's gone in there. Woltemade's gone in there, done fantastically well. Wissa hasn't played yet, but you can't say he's not an upgrade on Callum Wilson. So actually, when you look at what Newcastle wanted, which was a striker, possibly 2, a right winger, a midfielder, a right centre-back, and a goalkeeper, tick, 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 tick. They got everything that they wanted in terms of players and positions and upgrades. And I think actually they had a good window by the end of it. It was just a slow process. And now, after a stuttering start in the Premier League, because Champions League, they're fine, 2 wins out of 3. That's good. Quarterfinal of Carabao Cup. So the cup competitions are looking good. League, a bit underwhelming thus far. But you can expect Newcastle, I think, to improve week by week. And after the next international break, that's when you should see Newcastle sort of at their peak to some extent. What is success for Newcastle this season, Gonzo? Because I think they're in a bit of a funny period, if that makes sense. They're not title contenders, but they're also... So what is success for them?
Well, listen, if they winning another trophy would be huge. Even if they defended trophy, to go however long it was, more than 50 years, but without a trophy, and then to do back-to-back trophies would be horrendous. I mean, would be magnificent, not horrendous. There's no bigger
horrendous
sign
for Sunderland. You're right.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no bigger sign of progress than that, really. If they could do that and get into Europe again next season, then they're there. Then they're consistently there. In fact, they don't even need to win another trophy. That would be nice. But if they get in Champions League again for next season, I think that would be magnificent. I really do. I think they'd have come so far. There's obviously... This is a good season to do it because everyone apart from Arsenal looks vulnerable. So there's a chance there to get into that top 4, to get Champions League football again. So why not? I do think that would be success. And then they build up that again, particularly bearing in mind what's happened. Particularly you'd lose... Well, listen, I'll let anyone else decide whether Isak was their best player, but there would have been a number of people that thought Isak was their best player. So to lose your best player, that's tough. If you can do that and then still compete, then that shows that they're on the right foot. And yeah, I mean, they're borderline elite Premier League football club now. That is real progress.
Yeah, I completely agree with the thing you've just said. They can win a trophy and or get into, especially Champions League football. We'll say European football. I think, and I guess this is a compliment to them. If they only got Conference League football, I'd say it's a bit underwhelming for Newcastle United. I think you're better than that now. You are now good enough to go get Champions League football. But if they were to finish 5th, 6th, 7th and end up in the Europa League or the Conference League, I would really fancy them to go and win it the following season. That's the thing. I would think, you know what? You should be winning that. You've got a bloody good squad and you've got a good manager there. So last time they were in Champions League, they failed to qualify for Champions League football the following season. So if they could do it 2 seasons on the bounce, that's progress. With the Carabao Cup quarter-final draw, home to Fulham, they've got to be fancying that. If I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be well happy with that draw. Yeah, you would prefer Cardiff, certainly, but you've avoided Arsenal, you've avoided Man City, home to Fulham quarter-finals. I'm expecting Newcastle in the semi-finals, and then you've got the 2-legged affair, so you've definitely got a game at St James's Park. And as they showed last season, they thumped Arsenal in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. So they're capable of beating anyone. They've proved it, that they are capable. They've proved they're winning a trophy. So I see them as, favourites for the domestic trophies now. And I think that's a massive improvement on where they were just a handful of years ago in relegation battle. Look at them now, full of fantastic players, real ambitions. But is this their ceiling for now, Gonzo? Is this sort of the best they can hope for, which is Champions League football and potentially a domestic trophy?
Yeah, but that's really good. That is really, really good. Title winners. Well, there's nothing. If you keep being in the Champions League positions, you keep winning trophies, you'll get there. I mean, even look at Arsenal. It's taken I don't know,
8-9 years. I think.
Was it right?
Has been there.
Has he really? Well,
he's been there 8 years, I think.
Has he really? Okay, yeah. I mean, well, there you go. I was going to say 5 or so. It's taken a while, to build that squad, and he does have a squad now. And then often you get that squad, and then you're looking for that final couple of pieces, which you would argue that that they've done in midfield, Arsenal, and Gyökeres up front. They've been looking around for those couple of key components just to make that bit of difference. So you've got to work out your own team. And Arsenal, what are we going to do when Saka's not fit? They'd have been asking themselves and stuff like that. They've sorted that out this season as well. So it's just about ironing out those flaws. They don't want to be losing any more players. I think that's the other thing you'd say about Arsenal, though, and that's probably the difference between making a title contender and Champions League. I can't think, unless someone wants to correct me, that anyone's gone and pillaged Arsenal for their very best. No one's come and got Saka from them or anything like that. And that's just what's happened to Newcastle. So if Newcastle can hang on to their very best players now, and then add to that, they got a chance. But I don't look at Newcastle and see any difference between them and Chelsea, for instance. I look at them as a similar level, actually, when I'm viewing those teams. And that's again, that's progress. So there's not much of a ceiling there. It's they're if you're talking about going any higher, if it's like 100 floor building, they're on the 95th floor. There's not much more to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. I see them. I get what you're saying, comparing them to Chelsea. I think they're better than Chelsea. They've got that stability, don't they? They've got that. The foundations are more than there. It's just tweaking and fine tuning. Whereas Chelsea feels like a basket case of a club at all points, and that they're only ever a bad month away from more turmoil and then another manager sacking. Whereas at Newcastle, it doesn't feel like that. It's now we'll see it through because we've got belief in what we're doing and we've got a plan. And I think this is their ceiling for now, which is an incredible place to be. If you're consistently qualified for European football, huge, absolutely huge. Quick fun question before we do the players we admire: will they win the Carabao Cup?
Oh, I don't. I'm going to say yes. I don't, but I say that completely blind. I haven't really seen the draw. I know Chelsea beat Wolves, and it was a humdinger. That was 4-3 or something like that. But I don't really know. I've not. Palace got through as well.
Palace play Arsenal. Yeah, Palace play Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's not going to be. You don't want to play Crystal Palace at the moment. I'll tell you that.
No, but they've got 4 games in 8 days.
Of course they do, yeah.
Or something like that. Palace's schedule is just ridiculous in December.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, they can. They can win it. Will they? Who bloody knows? But yes, I would say, yeah, they can definitely do that.
Finishing top, let's say 6. I'll give you 6 and above.
100%. I think they'll do better than that. I think they'll do better than that. Yeah. I think they'll finish top 5.
Brilliant. I agree with you. Do you know what? I kind of hope they do win the Carabao Cup. I hope if it's not them, I hope it is Crystal Palace or even Brentford. I always root for those teams in the competition when it gets a little bit later on. Final question, Gonzo. There's a lot of them, but any players you admire in particular?
Yeah. There are. But it's not. I like watching Woltemade play. He was the under-21 striker, wasn't he? For Germany, yeah. I thought I recognised him. Joe Linton, I just think is
that because he crunched Kudus?
Because he killed Kudus? No, it's not because he killed Kudus, but that would give you extra brownie points. I just think he's every inch the modern midfielder. But someone that's even better than him is Tonyali, who's he played really well in that game, by the way. And they've got loads. Oh, and Anthony Gordon. Let me just mention him now, right? By the way, he is like an old style winger. I have not seen anyone better at positioning himself in front of a player that's about to kick the ball, so as the player kicks him. I've never seen anything like it. I know Grealish gets a reputation, right, for winning fouls. But I do believe Grealish positions his body well. But I do believe Grealish is getting kicked. And I do believe sometimes players have an intention to kick Grealish. Gordon gets kicked when no one's intending to kick him. I mean, he really isn't. Literally, as the opposition players pull him back. There's the ball. He's pulling back his foot to kick the ball. Gordon goes, bing, and just puts himself in there. Ouch. Honestly, I've never seen he's got an instinct for it. He's got an instinct. Honestly, if someone's going to go and head the ball, Gordon will go and put himself in between the player and the ball. Oh, he headbutted me. I've never seen anything like it. I think he's a really good player, by the way. But that, I know like sometimes we call it dark arts. That is a skill. He's so quick at it. He's so quick. You will look at the defenders. They've got no idea. They're just trying to pass the ball. The defender's trying to pass the ball to the fullback. Bing, Anthony Gordon gets in the middle. My leg.
You should work for a football club with analysis like that.
Beautiful, isn't it?
I think so.
I think I've got me tactics board yet.
I think Nuno would have benefited from that.
Well, I tell you what, I probably know more. I'm joking. I don't.
The midfield's fantastic. They've got one of the best midfields in the league. I think it was possibly the best midfield, but I think Arsenal have upgraded a little bit. And I don't feel as much as you praise her. I don't feel like Joelinton's quite at his best as he was perhaps last season. But I think the other two are just magnificent. I think Tonali, such an elegant footballer. I thoroughly enjoy watching him play football. And I think Bruno is just sensational. I think they've got two midfielders that are bordering on world class at Newcastle, which is when the team comes out and they play, you think, well, that midfield's going to win. That Newcastle midfield is just going to win the battle in the middle of the pitch. They've got everything. They've got creativity. They've got the defensive aspect. They've got strength. They've got aggression. Everything you want from a package in the middle of the pitch. In Newcastle, they've got leadership in there as well. Honestly, I absolutely love that midfield that Newcastle have assembled. I think Chow's a really good signing. I think the signing that they made at centre back was going to be important at Newcastle. And when he went in, the AC Milan fans were quite critical of him. Now, I didn't have an opinion of him. I hadn't seen him enough. So I was sort of going on a voyage of discovery. But I've been thoroughly impressed by him at Newcastle this season. Also, Woltemade as well, I think, has settled in really well. I don't think he quite gets enough praise and credit. It's one of them strikers that if you're a big striker, a tall striker, I think sometimes you don't get the credit you deserve for how good you are with the ball on the deck as well. He's such a technical, skillful player. His flicks and his movement, his pass.
For a big man.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah,
wand of a head.
Yeah. Wand of the head. That's what Woltemade's got. But I think he's a fantastic striker, and I think once Wissa's back for Newcastle, I know he's back in training of some sort. He's just got to go on this pre-season thing now. I think that'd be a really good pairing that Newcastle have got. I think while they lost out on Isaac, I strongly believe they've significantly upgraded the striking department in terms of options. And Osula is another year developed now. I quite like him. I think there's a player in Osula. I don't mind him at all. Anyway, from Newcastle, should we talk about our team?
I guess so.
Would you like to start with some team news?
Yes, please.
No, Niklas Füllkrug, he's back training by himself, but he's not quite involved in the full training sessions yet. So I think it's after the international break type thing for Füllkrug. No, Ollie Scarles, he's out until at least December. What did he fracture?
Collarbone.
Yeah, he's collarbone, so he's out until December. No, Lucas Fabianski either. He's got back spasms, so he's unavailable for selection. However, the good news is George Earthy played 45 minutes during the week for West Ham under-21. He's got a goal and an assist, so he's available for selection, as is Finlay Herrick, who's been recalled from his loan at Boreham Wood. So, Gonzo, you can have Herrick and Earthy if you wish, but you can't have Füllkrug, Scarles and Fabianski. And I would like to know...
Mavropanos.
Of course, how did I forget that? Good job you were listening. Yeah. Tested you. Make sure you're paying attention.
Thank you. I'm glad I passed.
You were. Well done.
Yeah.
Your goalkeeper, your defence, please.
Yeah, I definitely think we need both of those things. How good any of them are going to be, I've no idea. I'm going to go with I'll go with Areola in goal. Obi-Wan Bissaka right back.
It's difficult, isn't it?
It is difficult. Right, okay. So I've got two choices. I'm dropping to Debo, whatever's happening, right?
Right.
I don't want to see it again, right? When I say it, I mean that pairing. So my instinct was to play Igor there, but I don't know if he's any good or not, right? We could go with Magassa there, but again, we don't know anything about him. I know you suggested it last week. The other temptation is to even put Wan-Bissaka there at right centre back or something like that. This is how much I'm scratching around. I certainly think Wan-Bissaka would be a better at right centre back than Todibo. I'm going to put it that way, but he does lack a little bit of height. So I'm actually going to go with Igor. I'm going to put Wan-Bissaka at right back. I'm going to go with Igor. I ain't got a bloody clue, but at this point, almost anyone apart from me playing there is better than Todibo. Max Kilman will go next to him. I'd drop both of them if I could. We can't. And I'm going to put Walker Peters at left back.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I agree with what you're saying here. I can sense a struggle in deciding who goes next to Max Kilman. And you said, I'll put Igor there. I've got no idea if he's good or not. And I think that's what's going to happen on Sunday. Not necessarily Igor, whoever goes next to Kilman, or I think when the subscribers post their team below, I think there's going to be a lot of, I don't know if this is going to work. Let's try this. There's a lot of desperation now. I agree with three of your back four, which is Wan-Bissaka at right back, Walker Peters at left back, and Kilman. I would drop Juve for this one. I just think he struggled. I think he struggled defensively. I think whether Howe goes with Murphy or Alanga. I think both are good players. I think Alanga's out of form, but he's rapid. Murphy, not quite as quick, but he's in form at the minute. So no matter which one he comes up against, he's going to have a tricky customer. And this is going to happen with you. If he's a young player, he's going to go through spells where he's not quite firing and he's going to need to come out the team for a couple of games and go back in. It's okay. It's perfectly normal. But we've got two really good, experienced fullbacks in Wan-Bissaka and Walker-Peters, both capable of playing left back as well as right back. So when I say Wan-Bissaka right back, Walker-Peters left, if it's the other way around, I wouldn't be too upset. If they started off like that and switched during the game, it also wouldn't bother me. I think having that flexibility is not a bad thing. Next to Kilman, I completely agree with everything you've just said there. Do you go Igor? Now, you don't know him. I do. I don't rate him. And also, I think he's quite short for a centre-back. So coming up against Woltemade is possibly not the wisest idea. He's great in the air. And then you're into, is it Todibo? You just stick with him. And the mad thing is, I think that might be the risky thing to do. I think playing the natural centre-back is the risky thing to do here. Playing the £35 million centre-back who played for Barcelona is the risky option. And that's a wild thing when you say it out loud. I'm going to go Magassa. I don't know if Magassa's any good as a centre-back. Could not tell you. He played about 15, 20 games there for Monaco. That's it. That's all I've got to go on. But it's out of desperation. It's out of not wanting to see Todibo. And Magassa's got some experience there now. There'll be plenty of people watching this who have seen him play centre-back, and they'll know more whether he's good or not at centre-back. I don't know. But what I do know is he's played there before, and we need to do something different at the back. Otherwise, we are going to get beat comfortably. And even if we do something different at the back, we still may get beat comfortably. But I'd like to try something. Moving into midfield, Gonzo, what you got?
I'm going to play Kante because I think he's the most physical midfielder we've got at the club. He's a giant. He's funny enough, he's got a wand of a head and good feet for a big man as well. Full of energy, full of strength. And I wouldn't even doubt this. Whilst I doubt what we've got at centre back to play next to Kilman, I don't doubt that he is a better option than both Irving and Souček there. I also think because he's huge, like 6'5" or something like that, it gives you somebody else from set pieces, because that would be the only reason why Souček might get played there. But he didn't do particularly well even in that part of it in the game against Leeds. So I'd actually put him in there, but not just for his bulk, but for his quality as well. And I think when you've got that midfield, I think it's impossible midfield battle to win anyway.
Yeah.
But let's give it a go. I'd play Potts next to him for some ball retention as well. And I would play Fernandes in there as well.
I wouldn't be against it if that midfield come out. I'd be quite excited, actually. I also want to see Freddie Potts. I think it's important he starts. I think, pardon me, he's one of the first names on my team sheet, to be honest with you. There's no reason to not play him. I understand when Nuno arrived, he perhaps had never heard of Freddie Potts. I still think it could be a negative having his dad in the coaching team, because I think he might actually... I'm only reflecting on my personal experience with my dad when I played football. But my dad was my biggest critic when I played football. My mum was my biggest fan. My dad was my biggest critic.
Well, what bits did he not like about your game?
I could score 2 and he'd complain I didn't score 3.
Yeah.
It was just one of them I could never win. He was my biggest critic.
Yeah,
now, I'm not saying Steve Potts is that, but I do wonder if maybe because he comes across as such a nice person, I do wonder if he's maybe a little bit wary that he might be seen as being biased towards his son, and therefore he's biased against his son.
And in order
to try and seem fair and balanced, actually, he's going to maybe not play my lad. So, but Potts has to start this game. Nuno's now seen him at Ellen Road, where he was stringing the play together. There's no reason to not put him in. I've gone with Fernandes next to him as well. He's got to start. I was disappointed that he didn't start against Leeds, but I was also pleased he came on and scored. So I thought, there you go. You've just shown your manager. You've said to your manager, you start me the next game. You do not put me back on that bench. And I'm going to put Paqueta next to him, who I thought looked quite bright against Leeds, actually. Yeah. I wasn't offended by his performance. I was offended by his performance against Brentford, but against Leeds, I thought he was trying. And it's a bit risky having that as a midfield 3. I understand why you want Kante. I think you've got a nice balance in there, because I see Kante as a proper number 8, like proper box to box. And he can actually get involved in the final third. He got an assist on Tuesday night again. Really good play. The way he just held onto the ball and released it at the right moment for Josh Landers was impressive. It's easy to make that pass too early, and Josh Landers did that earlier on in the game where he played the same pass and the defender intercepted it. Kante held on to it, said, "No, you come to me, and as soon as you step away, I'm going to play my striker in." So actually, he might just give us something that we are lacking. I wouldn't be offended if Kante started. I would just be a little bit concerned. It's maybe a jump up, but when you're second bottom in the league,
it's a jump up for Irving, to be fair. Too much.
I completely agree with that as well. Yeah. Right wing, left wing striker.
Yep. Bowen on the right. Left, I'm going to play Paqueta there, and striker, I'm going to play Josh Landers or Landers, whichever way you want to pronounce it.
All right. So 2 things here. First of all, no Somerville.
No, he's too lightweight for this game.
What do you think? You'll get beat up by Q and Trippier.
I think you get beat up by everybody. I don't think look, let's be absolutely fair on this game. They are better. They're basically, Woltemade is going to be better aerially than our defenders. So I think we lose that battle anyway. I think we lose the battle in midfield anyway. And I don't think whoever we put up front can be better. Particularly, I think that Shard and Botman coming back. Just forget about it, really. I just don't think, if there's anything, maybe if they play Burn at fullback, and maybe Bowen might get a bit of joy there.
They will, but he's actually playing.
But the last time Bowen played up against him, he didn't do too well. So I know. I'm just making up a team for the purposes of the preview here. I don't think anyone can do anything in this game. I think we're going to lose. They're better than us in every single department. But yes, if I am picking, just moving the chairs around on the Titanic, of course, I'm probably going to put a slightly more robust chair with a bit better build quality on the left for this one. So
you've got an armchair on Titanic. Is that what you've got?
I am. I'm going to watch this stuff in comfort. Yeah.
And Landers up front, big call. Not that you're the manager, but if Nuno did it, would be a big call. What's your reasoning for him?
Because he's probably, I think he's the most physical striker we have. That's it. And he's scoring goals for fun. I'm not even suggesting. I don't know. I've not seen enough of him. I'm not suggesting this kid's going to be a world beater or anything like that. But I just think that anyone else that plays up front is going to get eaten alive, really. And I just think he is the most physical. And I think if you're going to put, I'd definitely want at least one person on that left wing with a left foot. And before I've already got Walker Peters, who's right-footed, so have a go. Let's swing a ball in. At least if you've got the other side, you've got Wan-Bissaka who can go over him, and Bowen can also cross with his right foot. Just trying to get a little bit of balance and a bit of physicality into the team. That's all I'm trying to do with this. And I don't think we have everything you said was right about Newcastle midfield. I don't think we have a midfield that can compete with them. No. But what I've picked is as close as I can get to it, I think, in terms of physicality, athleticism, and whatnot. Will it be enough to win the game? No, I don't think so. But I don't think what I've done is any more crazy than what Nuno's done in the last 2 games.
No, do you know something? I was going to say that actually. Well, your lineup's a bit okay. That's bold, but actually, I don't think it's as bold as what Nuno's done, which is crazy. You've got players in the correct positions.
Yeah,
to start
with the exception of Paqueta, but he played pretty much the season on as a left midfielder. So
I think that's where we've seen the best of Paqueta at West Ham. Though.
Yeah,
I do. I think that's where if you look at Paqueta's best performances, usually he's been on paper. He's been on the left hand side. I would stick with Bowen and Somerville. I think if you are going to get any success against Newcastle, you want to go long. There's no point trying to play it through their midfield. You won't manage. You won't win. They're a mid-block team. They press high up the pitch as well, and there's a lot of patterns starting to emerge in the Premier League now. The football's changed this season with set pieces and long throws, and football's evolved a little bit. Or you could say it's actually gone backwards. You could say it's a bit more, Tony Pulis is harping on, oh, everyone's doing what I did at Stoke, and he's not wrong. Like we people, but that's what happens in football. Things come in and things go out of fashion. And one of the statistics I seen during the week was that the teams that face the most long balls in the Premier League, and the top 5 are teams that I would consider to be the pressing teams. So you had Liverpool, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Brighton. They were up there. And there's a reason for that, which is when the president just try and go long, try and get in behind their defence, try and just bypass the midfield. And it is ugly, but if that's how you're going to harm Newcastle, I think you're going to want a Somerville team, because he's the only one that's possibly got the pace to beat his man in a race. Because while Bowen's not quick, I expect him to compete with Byrne in a race.
You'd hope he's quicker than Byrne, wouldn't you?
You would hope so, but Byrne can eat up the ground, though. He's got a long stride, but also he's quite physical. He uses his body well, and he's been in great form. I think he's possibly their player of the season last season, Byrne. I think he was absolutely brilliant.
He's got a long stride for a big man, Byrne.
He does. Wand of a stride.
Oh, he certainly has, as they say.
Up front, I've just gone Callum Wilson, but to be honest with you, I'm not that passionate about it. I'm not going to sit here and I'll give a brief reason, but if you said that's wrong, I'm not even going to come back and say, actually, I insist this is correct.
No.
My argument is weak. But here's the argument. We need to play a striker. So the option is the old and possibly unable Callum Wilson, the young and lightweight untested Callum Marshall, or the huge gamble in Josh Landers. I don't like any of those 3 selections. And the fact that we're in this, and even if Fulkrug was fit, I also would not like that selection either. The fact that we're in this situation is ridiculous, but we are, because of the incompetence of the board when putting this team together in the summer. I'll go Wilson up front. The issue is he's not going to last 90 minutes, but Nuno's Nottingham Forest was successful because they kept scoring first. They would score first and defend. So if that's how Nuno's successful, then I want to start with a team that's got the best chance of scoring the first goal of the game. I have an issue with trying to see out and defending a 1-0 lead. I don't think we're good enough to do that defensively. But if we can just be good enough to score the first goal of the game, that's an improvement, and I'll take that at the minute. Right, before I ask Gonzo how he's feeling ahead of this game, although he's already told us, what shall we offer our subscribers? Some free beer, Gonzo?
I think so. I've finished one of my tins.
You were getting sloshed talking about Paqueta.
I know I got sloshed because the conversation had to move on to Mason Greenwood. I thought I'm going to need a drink for this. But we got free beer for you. We've got free beer. What is better than free beer? I've actually got my box here, if you're sort of ready to go, with the next one of my free beers, which is the I think this is the Tangerine IPA. This one. Let me tell you. Let me take over from here if you don't mind, Gio.
Go on.
This is from Beer 52. Beer 52, because of our tie-up, our partnership with them, we got a free box of 8 beers for you. Now, Beer 52 basically go around the globe, finding independent breweries and boxing them up and giving you the opportunity to taste beers that you wouldn't ordinarily find in the supermarket. This box that I've got here is from a brewery called Northern Monk, which has been set up about 10 years ago in Leeds. Loads and loads of different beers on there. I quite like a lighter beer, like an IPA and stuff like that. So when you actually go on there, you can select whether you'd like a dark ale or whether you just want sort of lighter beers like I like. There's a box of beers, 8 beers, 2 snacks. Got the snacks there, 2 snacks. There you go. I've eaten my my other ones.
This is the last time I'm showing these, because I'm eating these soon. I've been putting them off for the purpose of showing them, but I want to tuck in.
Well, people saw me eat and drink live online. I'm not going to do it now because we're recording this before 11 o'clock in the morning. So I've got to drive, so I'm going to be responsible. And I would encourage everybody to drink responsibly. This is obviously for no children can get this promotion, and it's UK only. You've got to pay for postage. Aside from that, pay for postage with $5.95. You're going to get a box of free beers sent to your house for you to enjoy. Next month, it could be Bavarian beer. Next month, it could be a different brewery. Just gives you an opportunity to sample the beers of the world.
If you fancy a little bit of that, go to beer52.com/hammers. That's beer52.com/hammers. Links in description below and the pinned comments as well. Thank you, Beer52, for the offer for our subscribers. Gonzo, bit of pressure on this game after the last two, I feel. I think because we got beat, if we picked up 4 points against Brentford and Leeds, I think this would be seen not as a free hit as such, but one of them. If we get anything, it's a bit of a bonus. But if we lose, not the end of the world, because we've got 4 points in 2 important games. But because we've got beat in those, but also because of the manner of the defeat as well, and because of his team selections, I think he's put a bit of pressure on him, as well as West Ham putting a bit of pressure on them going into this match. I think we almost need to get something.
Oh, I don't.
I don't think we will, but
No.
I think we've got to start picking up points.
Well, I know, I agree with that. I don't think it make any difference on him whatsoever if we lose. I think there is real apathy building around West Ham at the moment. I don't feel that there's any belief that we can go and turn. I speak for myself, obviously, but I just don't. I don't think so. I think anything he gets here would be a huge surprise, an absolute massive surprise. I just don't. I think he's under pressure, yes, but enough pressure to lose his job? No. There is pressure on him because of it, because he's experimented. I think if he loses this, he's still under pressure and not really under any pressure for his job. I think there's so much sympathy. He is culpable for making nutty, bloody choices, right, against Brentford and against Leeds United. Absolutely. But there is a big element of sympathy that he has just got a crap squad. They're not going to... I've seen this. The normal tactic of I'm not noticed Will Salthouse did my video yesterday. Will Salthouse getting blamed now for the signing of Callum Wilson. Look, let's be fair. We know exactly who signed off on that deal, and agents will be agents. He's just bloody offered. He's offered a broken player to West Ham, and West Ham have said yes. Look, we all get offered stuff in life, right? From people that are trying to sell us stuff. You got to say no.
Don't say no to that.
No, don't say no to that. Don't say no to that one. We got offered a free striker, didn't we? But we shouldn't have taken him. I just think, okay, well, then we're going to get to the point where Nuno's tactics. Look, we are in this position because of the poor recruitment, and we've now seen that this mob are crap under 3 successive managers. Right? We need to fix it in January, and I think there's a general understanding for that. Because of that, I just don't think there's any extra pressure on Nuno, irrespective of the result. So I don't think he can sink any lower. For the reasons I've just explained. I do think he could take a massive jump up. If West Ham could somehow win this, it would change everything. That apathy would change. But I don't think we will win it, but I do think what he can do is send a signal, not to the board. I heard all this stuff. He's sending a signal to the boards that the squad are crap. That's why he's picked those crazy teams. Don't know. What he can do is send a signal to the fans and the players and everyone else, which is okay. I've got some components of what I want to build here, and we can go forward with that. The players have got away with it a lot here because there's so much focus on Nuno's nutty tactics. There's so much focus on what a crap job David Sullivan and Karen Brady had done. These players are millionaires, multi-millionaires. The vast majority of them earn more than £3 million a year. There are players getting £100,000 a week who don't look like they can head a ball, right? You've got to compete. You've got to go out there and you've got to win your individual battles, all right? If a trick or a flick doesn't come off, fine. If you hit the post, fine. But do not lose out your individual battles. Do not do that, because not a lot is said. We don't sit around here game after game moaning about how much money footballers earn, but they earn too much money and it's obscene. But you know what? We let it go, and that's fine because you represent the shirt and you fight for West Ham. They're not doing that. So actually, you're not deserving of it, because actually you're so bad. We're now looking around at the academy and people that have not even played a first-team professional senior game yet, and thinking they might be able to do better than the millionaires. This is a shocking state of affairs from so many of the players that are representing West Ham. If you're not good enough, then okay, that's one thing. But I am not accepting of someone that's 6'4" or whatever, not competing and not wanting the battle. They got to go out there. They got to fight. If you're not fast enough, fine, but at least try. At least try and go for the sprint. But come off that pitch knowing that you have tried everything. I don't want to see this meek stuff. I don't want to see this giving up. When there's someone that maybe gets a yellow card or gets something that's not against them, I want to see some fight back from the team.
Yeah.
I want to see. I'm not saying I want to see a fight in the middle of the pitch, but I wouldn't mind it. There was a point during that game against Leeds, which we discussed on our Patreon player rating show, where it was almost accepted. The referee was having a go. He was doing his job with Lucas Paqueta, and everyone was. Jared Bowen came over and a little word, but his shoulders were hunched, and he turned around and walked off. And okay, Paqueta was giving a bit back, but where was the team together having a fight? Why weren't we pushing some of these Leeds players out of the way? This is the sort of stuff I want to see. We got to get our fight back, and the players. I'm not saying they've been hiding behind the news, because they don't make the news, but the news has been about Sullivan. The news has been about Nuno. Okay, we know that stuff's shit because we've discussed it numerous times. These players need to stand up and show us why they earn 100 grand a week. Or if there's one of them, I don't know. Listen, maybe one or two do watch these videos. If you're there sitting there thinking, I don't earn 100 grand a week, I earn 50 grand a week. Well, you need to bloody pull your socks up as well, because it's still a lot of money, and more money than most people will see in a lifetime. And that's what they need to do. I'm sick of these bloody players, and they need to do it. They need to crunch some bones. They need to put some tackles in. They need to do some running. They need to win their 50-50 duels. When we do our player ratings on Monday, it is Monday, and we look at that Y Scout report, and we're looking at uncontested duels and contested duels and 50-50s and all that type of stuff. I want to see us competing. I want to see us contesting. And I don't want to hear any more of this. We all know that Newcastle are better. I expect Newcastle to win. I want to come out of that game with a proper tactical shape from the manager and players trying their hardest. If they can deliver that, then I'll get something. But I'll tell you what, it's the only offering I will give to Nuno of why he might have done those crazy old tactics. Maybe, just maybe, he picked those players because they were the ones that looked like they had the most desire, right? And if I was Nuno, don't give anyone any excuse. Pick normal tactics, and then when you come out of that, you say, I'm only gonna pick players that look like they're fighting for the cause. If you can't do this, I am gonna start dipping into that under 21s, and the rest of you, I'm gonna replace you. I'm gonna replace you in January. This is what's gonna happen. I'm better than this. I'm a better manager than this. I've proved it at Forest. I've proved it numerous times. Let's not hide behind the fact that the board have done such a crap job. Right, I'm gonna replace George Mendes on the phone. I'm gonna replace you. Back it up, and give the fans something to cheer about. Too much focus on the fans, and all the fans aren't getting behind the team. Never mind about all that. All the fans, people getting back at 4 o'clock in the morning from Leeds. Never mind all that, right? People taking half a day off work on Friday to travel up to Leeds. As you mentioned the other day, the motorway's screwed up there anyway, right? All throughout the weekend. Give the fans something. The fans do plenty. And I'll tell you what, when West Ham, like with that recent thing with a booking fee, like, you know what I mean, you pay 60 quid for a couple of tickets and they charge another £60 for a ticket, and they charge another £2 booking fee on top. That's where your wages get paid from, right? The fans are doing their bit. The fans are paying their wages, right? And you're getting paid millions and millions of pounds. Show up, turn up, have a battle. That's what I think about it.
Well said. I enjoyed that. Do you feel better? You feel fired up now. You're ready for the game now.
I want to play. Do you know what? I said I couldn't do a better job than Tadibo. Now I can.
You're ready to rock and roll.
I was knocking my own glasses off. Yeah,
you're just angry. You're ready to fling glasses at someone. Someone's getting the glasses treatment in the changing room.
They are. But particularly, I've got very good glasses for a little man.
I think Nuno needs a pair of them as well in picking where to play all these scars. But I don't think you're far wrong. Maybe he's picking the players that give 100% because, well, we might not like Souček and Irvin, and no one wanted to see that midfield. I've got no issue with their work ethic or their attitude or anything like that. They tried, they just weren't good enough. But I completely agree with everything you've just said. I think if somehow we won this game, it would give me a bit of belief, because I think even if we beat Leeds, I think there would be an element of, it was good that we won, but it was Leeds. Right, you beat one of the worst teams in the league. If you beat Newcastle, you're beating one of the more solid teams. And I know they're 12th in the table, but I'm very, very confident they won't be anywhere near 12th come the end of the season. They've not won away from home yet this season, but the first 3 away games all finished 0-0. Everton, Leeds, Bournemouth, I think it was Everton, got beat by Brighton, but they didn't have a striker for the first 3 games. They couldn't score. They didn't have a striker. This is a different test for us. And if he somehow came up with something which would allow us to win the game, I've criticised him a lot for his 2 lineups, and I stand by it. there was no justification for even the Brentford one, but especially the Leeds one. To do it again is just inexcusable. But on the flip side, if we win this, it will be down to something that Nuno's come up with. It will be down to his tactics, his management, because individually they are better than us. Collectively, they are better than us. So for us to get anything from this game, Nuno's going to have to get everything right. He could get everything right and we still lose. But he could get everything right and we nick something, a draw. I would take a point right now, but I don't think it's enough because we need to start making up for the points we've just missed out on over the last 2 games. I said 7 points from 4 games. The best we can get is 6 now. If we beat Newcastle, beat Burnley, we have 6. That's not good enough for as far as I'm concerned. I think there's pressure on now for us to start getting points. We now have to get points from games we do not expect in order to stay up. Yep. It's as simple as that. And it needs to start now. It needs to start immediately. Like you said, it starts with a change of attitude. It starts with getting rid of the players. And you know something? This is where I would, somehow Nuno is watching. I said, just be honest with the fans. If a certain player ain't pulling their weight and you don't think for the battle, get them out of the team. And when you get asked, where's that player? Say, they ain't giving everything to the team. They're not up for the battle. The fans will support that. I think the fans will say, good, get that player out the door in January then. Because what hurts most is when you watch the game on Friday and you see 1 or 2 players coasting through and they look like they don't give a shit. That's the worst thing to witness as a fan, especially when it's time to get in the trenches, roll your sleeves up, fight with one another, for one another. And the under-21s had on Tuesday. It was really refreshing on Tuesday. Those players, Swindon tried to intimidate them. They weren't having it. They stuck it back on him. And after the full-time whistle, one of our players slapped one of theirs because they grabbed Fearon by the scruff of the Fearon was giving it all that, right? He was obviously a little mouthy so-and-so, but he's small, Fearon, right? And one of their players grabbed Fearon. So one of our players, Brown, gave him a slap for it. So no, you don't do that. Whack. You don't touch our players. But all those players were all together. Some of them went away. It died down a little bit. They went over to the fans. As soon as it kicked off, they all turned around back and to help they ran back to help their teammates out. If that was the senior squad, I'll tell you what, half of them would look over and go, ugh, and just keep walking. They wouldn't go back and help their teammates would be getting beat up and they wouldn't go back and leave it to them. Their problem. It's pathetic. Honestly, it's absolutely pathetic. They need a large dose of what that under-21s have got, because I had pride watching our under-21s. And you know something? I was pride watching them scrapping with the Swindon players. I like seeing a bit of that. I like seeing that aggression, that togetherness, that fight for one another, that band of brothers mentality. I love it. And I watch our team. It's a bunch of wimps. There's a bunch of wimps. They don't want to be there. They don't want to fight for the badge. They don't want to play for the fans. They don't even want to play with each other, pardon the expression. But there's none of it. I'm watching it and I'm desperate for something that says we are up for this fight. 1 or 2 players display it, not enough. And the ones that aren't, they need binned out. They need to get them out the team. And at least if you can start with 11 players, with their sleeves rolled up, ready for a battle, it's going to give 100%, make it difficult. Back to start. Gonzo, any final words? I'm not going to ask you you're feeling through to you. I already know the answer. Any final words in your all-important score prediction, which I may or may not have on my bit of card here?
Yeah. Well, good guessing. Good guessing. I'll give you the score prediction. I've said enough about the game. What I do want to say is... Just on a Hammers Chat thing, really. We've got, look, even if you don't go and get that free box of beer, as you may or may not know, Hammers Chat lost a big sponsor recently. If you want to help out, if you want to support the channel, we'd really appreciate it. If I don't fancy the beer, go and subscribe to our Patreon. We'd really appreciate that. The lowest tier is £3.60. Get loads of extra content. And you can read there. It's patreon.com/Hammers Chat. It's in that little drop down menu box thing under here. We'd really appreciate it. We've got squeaky bum time ahead of the next few months. That's all I'm going to say about that. So thank you to everybody that already does, even if you're just watching these adverts and stuff like that. We really do appreciate any help that you give us. Newcastle are better than West Ham in every single department. I think it's going to be really tough, and I think we're going to lose 3-0.
Ooh, I went 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0. I've got little hope, and it's sad that I feel like this. Our best performance since David Moyes left was away to Newcastle. I can't even use that to cling on to as hope for why we could win this game. I can't even use it. The squad's unrecognisable. The players are not suggesting that they're up for it. Nuno's tactics and team lineup have been bonkers, and he was my safety net. He was my hope when we hired Nuno. He was my beacon of hope. That performance and result away to Everton was more reasons for hope. But all right, look at this. This is all right. Tweak that a little bit. We'll be fine. Arsenal got beat. Whatever. I don't care. Honestly, I was over it by the time the full-time whistle went. I was over that Arsenal game. By the international break, I thought, brilliant. Time for some Nuno time, some Nuno tweaks. Brentford, let's go. And I was really upset, disappointed, and frustrated with that. I was really disappointed and frustrated with what he did at Leeds.
Yep.
And that hope is almost out. In between Brentford and Leeds, I almost lied to myself to give myself hope. I said, he's not going but I genuinely believe this. So he's not going to do that again because it would be bonkers. There's no way he's doing that again. None whatsoever. So therefore, he's going to change the team, and that might be enough to get something at Leeds. Happy days. But he didn't. He continued doing the same madness. So my safety net is gone. My beacon of hope in Nuno's flickering a little bit. I'm still glad he's here, but I need reassurance from Nuno on Sunday that he's not completely lost the plot. I need reassurance. And if he puts out an 11, I can recognise and I'm happy with. We see a performance I'm happy with. Because the good thing is, the following week we play Burnley. Now, while you wouldn't fancy us beat Burnley at the minute, if you could pick a fixture, it would be that. You can't have Brentford or Leeds. They're gone. You'd maybe pick Wolves. But apart from Wolves, it has to be. If you cannot beat Burnley, just relegate us now. Just don't spend any money in January. We ain't staying up. If you cannot beat Burnley, and it's the same applies to Brentford and Leeds, right? But we've got to do something. He's had the one thing I will let him off with. He didn't have many of his players on the training ground during the international break.
Yeah.
And we went to Brentford with the players that were there, and it didn't work. And then we played Monday, Friday. It was a very quick turnaround. He didn't have much time on the training ground again. Well, that excuse is gone now. It's now Friday to Sunday. It's 9 days. This is the longest he will ever have with his full squad at the training ground. He ain't getting longer than this. He ain't getting longer. Because even when there's a break, because we're at the Cup Reading, they'll go away on holiday. They'll have a weekend off. The players will go away, or there'll be warm weather training, something. This is as good as it gets for Nuno. And if he can't come up with anything in this period, my last little beacon of hope, it's gone. It's out. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. If you somehow enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. If you fancy some free beer, go to beer52.com/Hammers Chat. And if you fancy supporting the channel, go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Myself and Gonzo, catch you in a bit.